All right, so we are on the final phases. I know it's taken a lot. There's a lot of information on how to do this. All right, I've got a good coating of glaze on everything. Okay, as we normally do, we're gonna go ahead and clean off the feet. Okay, always wipe your bottom. All right, and we're just gonna clean off the feet where that glaze area would touch. Okay, so I've got 3 little infinity symbols, or figure eights, if you will, and I'm just gonna go ahead and clean off just a little bit. Don't want any glaze dripping and running and sticking on that. And then I can take my sponge and just make sure that my name is visible. Got to get credit for doing the work, right? Okay. And then these drips here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see some of these drips. I'm gonna knock off some of these higher edges, and then just with my hand, I can clean that off, or I can go ahead and just very, very gently, I'm just gonna take off some of those big ridges that are created by the glaze kind of running and pooling up, because technically where that run is, where that drip is, that is multiple layers of glaze, which means what? Oh, it's going to be a different color because you have more glaze there than you do anywhere else. So this is how we want to ensure that we're getting a nice even coating over the whole thing. Okay, again, I am using the lightest of pressure. My fingers can actually just kind of rub away just those high spots, just so it's nice and clean. And this is just one of those finishing things that's going to help your glaze turn out the way you imagined it would be, and not with a bunch of weird lines and stuff like that that you didn't anticipate or you didn't want, for that matter. Okay, so that was the bottom of it. I'm going to do basically the same thing with with my sponge on the leaves. Okay, but I can get a lot more precise if I use a paintbrush and some water. Okay, and this is only for those delicate little areas around the leaves. And I'm gonna try and get this up closer so you can see how I'm doing this. Okay, so like this corner right here, you'll notice that as I do this, I'm kind of wiggling my paintbrush back and forth, and then I kind of push it in, and it stops where the edge of that leaf stops, because that's made a little bit of an impression. All right, and so, you know, the old rule of thumb, if you see glaze there now, you'll see glaze there later. What ends up happening is that the wax does a good job of keeping the glaze from sticking here, so you get most of it off of there, okay? But what ends up happening is that wax will melt far before that glaze starts to melt, and so that wax will disappear, and then the glaze will still be left behind. And if that's the case, then you'll have that glaze, like if I were to leave this right here, you can see there's a little bit of glaze there and a little bit of glaze in there. That glaze will stay there and it will show up. And so in the middle of my beautiful leaf impressions that I have here, I would have this purple surprise glaze, which would not make sense. It just doesn't look right, okay? I have never seen a purple leaf like that. And if you know the color, then you'll know what I'm talking about. All right. So again, this is a little bit tedious. This is something that takes a little bit of time. So, yep, you guessed it. Time for a time lapse.